Chitty Bang sent to the penalty box. Another power jam for Varsity. Only 3 points on to the Brawl Stars scoreboard. The jam is about to come to an end. Varsity jammer Julie Pepper standing in the penalty box, and she rejoins the track. And that's the end of that jam. 2 big jams for Varsity in a row. 24 for that one. 26 for that one. Bringing their total score to 44. The Brawl Stars sitting on 3. Now, there were a bunch of power jams in that one. 3 power jams given, 4 power jams in total from just two jams. An official review being called. All right, I will just let you know who our sponsors are today. We have Adelaide Showground. Thank you so much for our fabulous venue. Adelaide Showground has hosted TGSS for for the history of TGSS. It's a fantastic venue. Enough space for 5 tracks plus all of the spectators. So if you're local and you're listening to this at home, you can come on down and have a look. We're selling tickets at the door, so bring some cash. There's plenty of food, there's plenty of roller derby, there's even a bar, so check it on out here at the Adelaide Showgrounds. M- is jamming for Varsity. M- using, Irish Upon a Star is also M-, and that's number 9 for Varsity. Always a little bit confusing when players use a different name on the roster to the one on their shirt. Apologies for you watching at home. I'll try to be clear about who it is I'm talking about. We've got Chitty Bang jamming for Bunbury, but she's going to be starting in the penalty box. She's not standing, so there's more than 10 seconds on her penalty left. So it's all been about Chitty Bang so far. And M- with the power start. Great intensity there being shown by those Bunbury blockers. But M- straight up and over the top of Bin Chicken and sent to the penalty box for a back block. And because Chitty Bang was standing in the penalty box, that suggests that M- only does the same amount of time in the penalty box as Chitty Bang did. So jammers match the timing of the jams. So that means about 20 seconds. Chitty Bang with the shiny gold helmet. A little bit obvious when she does the star pass. And the pivot with the star in hand. She hasn't yet put it on. And M- sneaking out of the penalty box and scoring a pass, finishing her initial pass without Bunbury even really noticing. And that's Bin Chicken with the star with a track cut for Bin Chicken. So that gives another power jam to Varsity. This game has been all about the power jams so far. .30 seconds left in the jam. M- just paddling her way through. Getting up and under number 66, G Bang her. And that gives her a 5-point pass. M- on 1 foot, bobbing around, finds the way on the inside, and that's a 5-point pass. Bunbury's Jammer joining back on the track, and that's Bin Chicken flipping the hips. No points given, no initial pass completed. And Varsity adding 15 points to their score. Scoreboard reads 59 to the Rogue Scholars from Varsity Roller Derby League and 3 points for the Brawl Stars from Bunbury Roller Derby League. And that is a timeout called for Varsity. That gives me more chances to tell you about more sponsors. Rydell have, for over 70 years, Rydell has been the innovative leader in the roller skating industry. Rydell skates are unmatched in quality and unmatched in performance. That's Rydell. Check them out online, get yourself a pair of Rydell skates, and come on down and join us. Thanks to all of the referees and non-skating officials that we have today. Roller Derby has a spot for everyone who wants to be a part of it. There are lots of commentator spots available. Quite a lot on the roster just, you know, today and tomorrow. So if if this is something you think you might enjoy, check out your local leagues. Everyone is always looking for someone to join. Thanks also to AJS Lighting Sound Events. They are the supplier of our audio-visual equipment. They do sales, hire and installation of audio, visual and lighting systems for all commercial and domestic applications, including corporate functions and conferences. So check them out, AJS Lighting Sound Events. And that's the end of that timeout. We have Horror, the second jammer, on for Bunbury. And she's up against Kink. It'd be great to see this jam go through without a power jam, without a penalty on the jammer. Horror trying to make her way through. But that is Kink in the lead position for Varsity. Kink looking for the gap on the inside, sailing through as Bunbury are caught napping, focusing on doing offense for their jammer, but giving away 5 points in the meantime. Varsity's pivot, waving the hand madly in the air. Was it for a star pass? No. Kink with just one to beat, but that's Ruckus, and Ruckus trying to give it hell. 5 points added to Varsity. And Kink just calls that jam off. 10 points added for Varsity. And they also start with a power start. So power jams, penalties for the jammers, absolutely plaguing both teams, but Varsity managing to make the most of it. They're sitting on 69, and there is 21 minutes left in this half. J-Pap's on the jammer line on her own. She finds a massive hole up the inside, and she gets through as lead jammer. J-Peps is 2 for 2, 2 leads off 2 starts. And she's through again, another 5 point pass. These power jams are really hurting Bunbury. Horror through easily on the inside, losing her footing, but is back on track. Spanky with a sniff of a chance to knock over that jammer, but Horror managing to get past first. Another very successful jam for the Rogue Scholars. 14 points added to their score. 80 points the difference, and we are only 5 jams down. Sax bomb from Varsity, sent off to look for her mouthguard. Best not to play without a mouthguard. Of course, all players wearing all the necessary safety equipment, and thanks to all of our paramedics that are here to make sure everything runs smoothly. Chitty Bang jamming for the Brawl Stars. For Bunbury in the black. Chitty Bang with the very stylish threads. M-Dash treating those blockers like Skittles. Sneaking her way through, 5-point pass. Chitty Bang trying to avoid the track cut, but not able to do so. She is back to the penalty box. She's looking super tired now, though. Cruising her way in, but it is a power start to Varsity again. And Varsity will send Kink out to take those honours. Kink has already added 28 points to Varsity's score. She thought she had the inside line, but just a little bump out. Kink absolutely juking up the front there, and that'd be Ruckus again. Ruckus is absolutely doggedly determined, but Kink gets on through. That's lead jammer status to Varsity. Chitty Bang standing in the penalty box and is now back on the track. Varsity blockers reforming, but Chitty Bang nearly managing to get the outside line. Kink taking advantage of the confusion in the middle. 5 points given to her. Arms in the air, everyone trying to avoid extra penalties or insubordinations. Chitty Bang completes her initial pass. Kink being hunted down and taken out. Bench manager for Varsity, Copter, trying to time that call off absolutely beautifully. I have no idea what he was waiting for, but I'm sure it was very good. I believe it was freeing one of their players from the penalty box. But they start with only 2 on the track, all the same. Bunbury has 1 player in the penalty box, but she is standing. Night Fury jamming for the first time in this game. She's in the black for Bunbury. J-Peps is off to the penalty box. This penalty spiral for jammers, it's only 8 jams into the game, and already we have 3, 4, 8 jammer penalties between the 2 teams. Bunbury coming with a shoulder barge up against Spanky and sent off for a high block. And that's a power jam now to J-Peps and Varsity. J-Peps using the toe stops, managing to stay in bounds. Completes her initial pass. Slam I Am caught in behind the Varsity blockers. And she now rejoins her pack. Another power jam. Track cut given to J-Peps. However, Night Fury was back on the track. So that means those jammer penalties don't pair up. And JPEP serves the full 30 seconds, which will take her to just before the jam runs out. So no power start, unless, of course, Night Fury has another jammer penalty. But a 5-point pass there. And that was a huge hit. Edgy Hater taking Night Fury down. JPEP standing in the penalty box. And then that jam being called off. So, as I suggested, both teams will start with a jammer on the track. Team timeout called by Bunbury's Brawl Stars. Good time to recoup halfway through the first half. The Rogue Scholars from Varsity are sitting on 111 and they're up against the Brawl Stars from Bunbury. They're sitting on 15. Both teams have used a timeout now. As I was saying before, there has been a huge penalty spiral for jammers. When we look at Bunbury, we've got Chitty Bang, who has been to the penalty box 3 times. Horror, who's been to the penalty box once. And Night Fury, who went to the penalty box for a high block. And then on Varsity's team, we've got Kink, who's been in the penalty box once. JPEPs, who's been in the penalty box 3 times. And M-Dash, who's been in once. So all up, that's 5 for Varsity. And 5 for Bunbury. So 5 each. There's only been 8 jams. So hopefully everyone will have settled down after that timeout. M-Dash on the jammer line for Varsity. Varsity are in the red jerseys. She's up against Horror in the black. Both packs with 1 player in the penalty box. Varsity is through as the lead jammer, and that is Irish upon a star M-Dash. Bunbury with all their blockers on the track, but M-Dash is managing to just sneak her way through, just kind of nudged her way past Titanium, scoring 5 for that. And there's another jammer penalty. That was a track cut. Horror looking very disappointed with herself. Or perhaps disappointed with the call. I'm not 100% sure. Varsity trying to hold the pack back. And bench manager Copter asking the jammer to call that jam off. And that will give Varsity a power start. So Kink is going to take this power start for the Rogue Scholars. As we said before, Kink has been a part probably with the least penalties out of the jammers. She's only had 1 so far. Chitty Bang being held behind the 4 Varsity blockers. That shiny gold helmet giving her away with the helmet cover in her hand. She tries to get the leg through first. Five-point pass there for Kink. Horror completes their initial pass and Kink calls that jam off. My mistake there. Chitty Bang wasn't jamming for that jam. Thanks to everyone at home for tuning in. There's going to be a lot of derby. Saturday and Sunday is basically 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then Monday is when we have all of the finals happening. We will be bringing you 4 tracks. We're going to try to do 4 tracks live. May or may not happen, of course. We certainly hope to be able to bring you track 1 and track 2 live, and the others will go up into the archive as well. JPEPS rounds her way through for a quick 4-point pass. Fakey B jamming for the first time in this game for Bunbury. JPEPS with another 5 added. Fakey B trying to get back to her feet. Perhaps a track cut? Yes, it was. Fakey B just didn't see that last jammer. Sorry, that last blocker, who was standing a good 3 or 4 feet behind where she re-entered the track. So that is another power start to Varsity. 24 points added to the Rogue Scholars that particular jam. 2 points added for the Brawl Stars. Rogue Scholars sitting on 151 up against the Brawl Stars 17. Just over 10 minutes left in this half. And this half has been an absolute nightmare for jammers. M- makes her way through. Varsity with the lead and almost holding back a goat. M- with all the opportunities. Does so. No, bumped out of bounds. Jammer is standing in the penalty box for Bunbury. M- trying to rebound her way through. Fakey trying to make an impact on those blockers. M- with 1 to beat. That was horror and does so for a 5-point pass. Fakey through. Oh, with 2 different penalties called, a track cut and skating out of play, I believe. And that gives Varsity another power start. There's been 12 jams, and I believe more than 12 jammer penalties. So let me just count up what we have. We've got 1 for Kink, 3 for JPEPS, 1 for M-. So that is 5 penalties for Varsity. And I believe Kink has had lead jammer status 4 times from 4 jams. Kink with 1 to beat. 5 points added to her score. And we have Fakey back on the track for Bunbury. Fakey managing to stay inbounds, but for that last toe stop, and that's another power jam. And that was called as an insubordination. I'm not sure why. Perhaps it was because Fakey... See, now I'm really confused because Fakey's back on the track. Someone was called for an insubordination. I thought it was Fakey. I thought Fakey was called for a track cut, and I thought she was also given an insubordination, which is a double penalty. But it seems that no one's in the penalty box for it. I'm a little confused. The look of determination on Ruckus, but has to yield to get Kink through. King's starting to look a little weary. She has added quite a lot of points to the board so far. I think about 50 points. Copter wasting no time to get to the centre of the track. I'm going to guess there was some confusion over Fakey's penalties. Both jammers are in the penalty box. Going to be a boring game if that stays that way. The NSOs are sorting this out. I see the NSO indicating the number 2, suggesting that there is a double penalty, perhaps for the insubordination call. In the meantime, let me tell you about one of our sponsors, AJS Lighting Sound Events. Thanks AJS for supplying all of the audio-visual equipment. Sales, hire and installation of audio, visual and lighting systems for all commercial and domestic applications, including corporate functions and conferences. That is AJS Lighting Sound Events. There's plenty more games coming up today. There are 4 more games. Goodness me. Yep, no, there are 4 more games after this one. And there are 5 tracks playing. Only 4 of them are being televised. So if you know someone playing on track 5, you'll have to ask them to recount it for you. Kink out of the penalty box and back on the track. Kink will have the track for a fair chunk of time because I do believe Fakey is serving a double penalty. Copter is keen to trap Fakey in the penalty box. Copter looking a little bit agitated. Fakey in the penalty box still. JPEP's up jamming for Varsity now. So Fakey stuck in the penalty box still from the last jam. JPEP is through. Star pass happened for Bunbury. G Banger now with the star. JPEP's streaking on the inside. Bunbury looking a little bit frazzled to me. Time for everyone to take a bit of a deep breath. G-Banger completing their initial pass. No, it wasn't. It was a points pass. 5 for Varsity, 4 for Bunbury. Educator being sent off for that block. G-Banger nearly making their way through, but sent back to that first turn. JPEP's in the meantime, another 5-point pass. Varsity looking a lot calmer on the track than Bunbury right now, which is the opposite energy that the benches are giving. The Bunbury bench looking very calm, very soothing for their players. Copter up the front, a little bit agitated, a little bit, yelling out what needs to be done. And it seems to have the opposite effects on the players. J-Peps with a 5-point pass. G-Banger unable to get through. And this jam coming to its conclusion. J-Peps adding a ton of points. Eight points all up for Bunbury. 33 added to Varsity's score. So that's 101 points added just by J-Peps for Varsity's score. So just under half the points from her. M- marching her way through, completing her initial pass. M- also a big contributor of points today. She is sitting on 38 points. And about to make it 42. Pardon me, 43. Jam a lap point. And that is horror through for Bunbury. Horror with that very distinctive arm style. M- looking very playful at Bunbury's blocker and calling that jam off in a very petite fashion. Just a little bit of a tap on the hips there. Copter loving it out in the middle. And it gives me a bit of time to remind you of PhysioFit. PhysioFit are the Adelaides and the Radalaides official physio provider. They are here in the pavilion today, which isn't much good for you at home. But if you're in the Adelaide area, get yourself along to PhysioFit. They can fix what ails you. Out as lead jam and Night Fury taking it for Bunbury. Bunbury have only had 3 lead jams this half. 2 of them have been for Night Fury. But Varsity have really shut her down. Kink out in front with 4 points. Night Fury with the lead jammer status, but allowing the jam to continue. Kink is happy to keep adding points. Night Fury having some trouble getting past those Varsity blockers. And calling that jam off. Nine points added to Varsity, and that was against lead, with Bunbury taking 4 points for their lead. That was Night Fury. And we have come to half time. There is going to be a 15-minute intermission. So I will be back here in about 10 minutes. And we're back. There's about a minute and a half left of this intermission before we start into the second half of this game. Rogue Scholars from Varsity Roller Derby League up against the Brawl Stars from Bunbury Roller Derby League. It has been a hectic schedule of jammer penalties. Both teams fielding many jammer penalties. We have Varsity with 5-6 jammer penalties. And bear in mind that there's only been 17 jams for that half. And we've got Bunbury with many more penalties. We've got 30 jammer penalties. 30 jammer penalties. So nearly 2 jammer penalties per jam. This is going to be a massive problem as we see jammers being fouled out of the game. Hopefully it won't come to that. Yeah, I just realised I added up the wrong thing. We have 10 jammer penalties, not 30. That would be horrendous. 10 jammer penalties for Varsity. The most penalty heavy of those being Fakey B. We're going to start with Varsity in the red. The jammer they are fielding is JPEPS. And she is up against number 68, Horror, in the black and red. Penalty box is completely empty. JPEPS shrieking her way through like it ain't no thing. Was it a false start? I believe so. That explains why it was so easy for her to get through. Thanks to all of the referees and non-skating officials here bringing this tournament together. They have done a fantastic job. They work pretty tirelessly through the day. Mostly they start at 9 and finish at 9. Rather long. And they've done a fantastic job under a lot of pressure. And out in front we have the Brawl Stars, Horror, getting lead jammer for the first time this game. But collecting the concrete all the same, and no point prolonging that, calling that jam off. That was a very big, hard fall, especially on a cold concrete floor. And JPEP's showing a lot of spirit. The spirit of Derby. Just checking in that Horror was okay. And first up on the jammer line for this game, Rebel Wheels On. Rebel 7560 for Bunbury. Rebel stuck behind a very solid, unflinching wall of Varsity. And that is Irish Upon a Star, wearing M-Dash's shirt, I believe. I'm not sure if they're actually the same people or not. But it is Irish Upon a Star. 4 points added to her score. Rebel Wheels On, skipping her way through for 4 points. This jam with a minute to go. Irish is the lead jammer but chooses to keep going. Varsity trying to capitalise on the lack of experience of Rebel. Rebel needing a bit of help from Chitty Bang. Irish keeps on going on the inside. And draws the advantage from the pack being broken. That's 5 more points added to Varsity's score. Rebel starting to look pretty beaten. there are some big hits being dealt on the track, and each one would make you just that little bit more tired. Rebel with the star in hand. Gone for the pass, but there is no advantage as Chitty Bang is swallowed up by the wall of Varsity. And that jam running out of time. Another big one for Varsity. 33 points added to their score. 8 points added to Bunbury. So for those of you following along at home, it's terrific to have this long weekend, and it's terrific to know that this is when TGSS is on. But you may notice that half the commentators here have colds, which is why there's only one of me here now. There ordinarily would be two of me, or maybe one of me and one of someone else. But that means I need to have a lozenge. So apologies to those of you at home that can hear lozenge noises. I know it's disgusting. Please don't tell my mum. And the player 38 from Varsity, wearing that jersey, number 38, saying kink. That is actually a skater called D's Nuts. These Nuts has had a cracker of a game. 78 points in the first half. Adding 4 more there. Jay Pepper also an absolute stalwart of Varsity. Jay Peps scored 101 points in the first half. G-Banger with the star for Bunbury. We saw G-Banger in the first half take a star pass, but no doubt with the penalty spiral, Bunbury are going to look to mix things up a bit. G-Banger having some real problems getting through. Back to turn 2. Sax Bomb holding that wall of 3 that is stopping G-Banger from getting through. J Peps with a 5-point pass. And G-Banger back to that second corner. This is absolutely soul crushing. G-Banger avoiding a track cut, but back to turn 2. 5 more points for J Peps. And more of the same. Varsity trying to draw back G-Banger as far as possible. J Peps looks like she's skating on fresh legs. 5 more points. Arms are flaying there. I'm pretty sure I saw a helmet cover come off. And I believe that it is with Bunbury's pivot, and that would be Horror. And that jam being called off. Varsity sitting on 309 points. Absolutely looking good for the points differential. That may make a difference when it comes to the quarterfinals when looking at who plays who. And that is a pretty big differential. There is 268 points of difference. Irish jamming for the Scholars. She's up against Ruckus. I don't recall Ruckus jamming before. First time for the game for her. We've seen Ruckus out the front of the packs through the first half. Absolutely dogged determination on the face. Ruckus has been the one in the first half that has been hunting down the jammers, trying to stop them from getting away. But now with the star, she is feeling that same frustration unable to get past. Making you bleed, trying to give a hand. Ruckus thinking she was sent off for a penalty but was not. And that taking away from the pressure on the wall. Making you bleed, helping Ruckus out, but drawing a forearm penalty for her trouble. And Ruckus completes her initial pass. Referee indicating 5 points for Irish. Irish wearing M- on their shirt. Ruckus seem to be being accompanied there by Varsity's blockers. And they go around the track with her, but she is unable to get past and therefore unable to put points on the board. And now Spanky is drawing her back to the jammer line. Ruckus marching on through the inside line. 4 points added. 4 points added to both jammers, and that jam called to an end. Ruckus adding 4 to the Brawl Stars, bringing their total to 45. I feel next TGSS should be sponsored by some sort of throat relief spray or lozenge. If you work for a throat relief spray or lozenge company, get a little truck down here. For over 70 years, Rydell has been the innovative leader in the roller skating industry. Rydell skates, unmatched quality, unmatched performance. That's Rydell, R-I-E-D-E-L-L. So the Brawl Stars having to dig deep into their cache of players. 8 of their players now have had a jam. That is going to be difficult for the players to be able to keep their head in what their job is going to be. 8 jammers out of a roster of, I think, 12. So the 4 new ones, 5 of the new ones are actually from just the second half. So in response to that penalty spiral that we saw in that first half. And things have settled down significantly since then. So perhaps that that strategy is working. These nuts out in front, lead jammer for Varsity. Bin Chicken still to complete her initial. She's just behind the pivot line still. She's got one to beat and does so. Bin Chicken keen to put some points on the board. These nuts will probably call it. Plenty of time in there. Good hustle there from Varsity. And that gives them 4-0 for that one. J-Peps is in the red for Varsity. She's up against Horror, number 68 from Bunbury. The last time they met on the track just now, I believe, was with Big Impact. And J-Peps is through as lead jammer. Horror has completed her initial pass as well. J-Pep's about to hit the pack. Will she call it? She's running it. Varsity holding faith in their blockers. And that faith is not misplaced. They are still holding Horror back. Horror trying to get a lift off Slam I Am. And completes her 5-point pass. J-Peps being the 5th blocker. J-Peps perhaps trying to run down the clock, knocking Horror out of bounds, drawing her back to the second turn. And everyone in the stands behind offering their support or interference, I'm not sure, one of the two. And J-Peps gets skating again, both jammers on the move now. J-Peps with the lead jammer status, choosing to run this jam down. 30 seconds left to go. J-Peps stepping through for a 4-point pass. As I said before, a lot of trust in the varsity blockers there given by the jammer. And Horror is through for her 4-point pass. I guess when you're ahead by like 300, you've got a bit of room to try stuff out. We're seeing penalties of all sorts. So it was a multiplayer block given to number 66, which was G-Banger. 3 more points added to the Brawl Stars. That wasn't a very big jam in the way of Varsity. They were only 6 points ahead, but they have completely eaten up a bunch of time there. There's only 17 minutes left in this game, and they're 302 points ahead. Rebel Wheels on back on the track for Bunbury. A depleted pack for both teams. D's Nuts with 1 to beat. She's through for Varsity. D's Nuts playing in the jersey that says Kink. Hard to see the link between a name that is D's Nuts and a name that is Kink. 5 points added to Varsity's score. These Nuts through for another easy 5. G-Banger back to the penalty box. Educate her back to the penalty box. Rebel Wheels on. Gingerly trying to make her way through. She's being held by Spanky. These Nuts just putting on the accelerator and getting through for another 5. Rebel handing over the star while behind all of the blockers, making it a little difficult for her pivot. And the pivot is through now for a 4-point pass. That is G-Banger. G-Banger unable to make any more points after that first pass. And that's 26 extra points added to Varsity's lead. Thanks to AJS Lighting Sound Events. They supplied the AV equipment here. They do sales, hire and installation for commercial and domestic applications, including corporate functions and conferences. That is AJS Lighting Sound Events. Irish upon a star, trying to get out in front, but needs to go back to... No, they don't. That was a penalty given to the blocker. So Irish is able to continue on. No pass, no point. And there is a power jam. Fakey sent to the penalty box for a track cut. Fakie has had 6 jams so far, and 5 of them have included penalties. Irish getting a lift through from Educator. 5 points the payoff. Fakie standing in the penalty box. She's ready to rejoin the track. Educator clearing a path for Irish, but a bit of persistence offered there by Operation Ellie, I believe. Fakie B unable to get past hot blocks. Bunbury indicating for a star pass. That was some sort of block, a low block. Let's educate her going back to the penalty box. And that means Bin Chicken is now the jammer for Bunbury. Bin Chicken through. 4 points added there. And that jam coming to an end. Varsity managing to go past the 400 mark. They're sitting on 411 with Bunbury on 64. There's still 12 minutes left in this game. I'm guessing that Varsity has their eyes fixed on the 500 mark. With the massive scores that these jammers are putting up, it's completely possible. I think the biggest jam so far has been a 33-point jam. And then setting back from that, there's been a 26 and a 24. And then a bunch that were around, you know, between 15 and 20. And that is the last team timeout for Varsity. They do still have an official review, and of course you're allowed to use your official review as a timeout if you want. Thanks to all of the referees and non-skating officials who have come here today to keep things in order. It takes a small army of people to do game after game after game. And we very much appreciate the work that you all do. Alrighty, we have Horror on the track in the black for Bunbury. J-Pep's out in front, gets lead jammer for Varsity. Educator joining the track again for Varsity. The penalty box is clear. And Horror makes her way through on her initial pass. J-Pep's catching up. Hoying out as she goes past. Arms are up, ready to call the jam. She's going to hit it and quit it super quick. Horror may have managed to get through a point. Let us see. Yes, jam. Her ref says 1 point. 3 added to Varsity. That was a fantastic jam for Horror. Putting all of that pressure on Varsity and only losing 2 net points. "11 minutes left on the clock." Bunbury, a suburb in Western Australia, for those of you not in the know. And Varsity is the other Canberran league. D's Nuts. I'm getting my wrong names mixed up. D's Nuts jamming for Varsity with only 1 to beat. She puts 5 on the board. all of the Bunbury blockers were up the back helping Titanium through. Titanium unable to get past Spanky. Meanwhile, These Nuts adds another 5. Titanium just really putting the head down, trying to make her way past. She's going awfully close to those edges and just keeps getting knocked out. The helmet cover comes off. The world's most obvious helmet cover pass. And the jam is called with Ruckus holding the star. That was certainly a feat to be giving to the pivot there, passing the star while the pivot is behind the blockers. Makes it much more difficult for them, of course. And that jam bringing Varsity 17 points. These Nuts, I think, is probably the leading scorer for the game. If I was any good at maths, I'd be able to add that up. J-Pep's back on the jammer line for Varsity. She's also one of the main scorers in the game today. So far she's added 163 to her team's score, but she is not in the lead. The lead goes to Horror. And Horror with a 4-point pass. J-Pep's having difficulty getting out. Terrific turn of events. Horror calling that jam off. Terrific jam for Bunbury. Varsity managing to add 3 to their score though. Bunbury with the 4. So we've got These Nuts back on the track. Pardon me. Horror's... That was Horror's 4th jam, 2nd time being lead jammer. And for this half, she's been lead jammer both times. That was only the 2nd time that Bunbury have managed to get lead jammer status. And they do it three times now for this half. And this time it goes to Chitty Bang. She's been hunted down by These Nuts. These Nuts sitting on 138 points for this game. And that makes it 141 points for this game. So we've got Irish upon a star on the jammer line for Varsity. She is sitting on 139 points for the game. Ben Chicken trying to track her down. Bench manager Copter yelling call, call, call. He wants this jam done. But Irish not quick enough to hear, so the jam continues. 4 points added to Bin Chicken's score. Bunbury absolutely ecstatic to see that. Irish adding 4 as well. Bin Chicken hitting the ground. Irish with Ruckus to beat. Ruckus always seems to find herself out in front. Bunbury going to be struggling to hold that pack. Irish not noticing that the penalty was given to the opposition blocker. Nearly missed the chance of getting that advantage. Only a 2-all to beat. Bin Chicken with the star off the helmet, looking desperately for the pivot. Educator saying, no, you're not going anywhere. Bin Chicken needs another 2 or 3 feet on her arms to make it easier. Maybe she should have come in with barbecue tongs. Ruckus with the panty now, and she's through. Educator not happy with the call or the lack of call on there. But all the same, the referees continue. Ruckus is now the jammer for Bunbury, and that jam is called off. That jam adding 15 to Varsity's score, 8 to Bunbury's score. There's a bit over 3.5 minutes left. We're on jam 15 for this half. I reckon we'll get another 3. And there's an official review being called by Varsity. That gives both teams a bit of an opportunity to just stop and recharge. Gives me an opportunity to tell you about PhysioFit. PhysioFit are the Adelaides and the Radelaides official physio provider. Go and visit them in the vendor stall area when you are here. Or if you're in the Adelaide area, go and find them. They're providing they provide physio and massage services to any sore bodies. So go and find PhysioFit. They will fix what ails you. Thank you also to the Adelaide Showgrounds. They provided us with an absolutely brilliant venue. We love it. There is space enough for 5 tracks that we will be using all weekend. 2 absolutely full days, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's today and tomorrow. And then Monday is going to be probably 9 a.m. to I think about 5 p.m. You'll be able to catch 4 of those tracks, hopefully live on YouTube. The 5th track is a mystery. That's where all of our players who are with the Witness Protection Program can play. And if any of those games fall over and don't quite make it to the live coverage on YouTube, you'll be able to catch them on the YouTube archives, and then of course the TGSS archives afterwards. The next game that's going to happen on this track is going to be Inner West Roller Derby League, and they are playing someone. Oh, that doesn't tell me who, does it? Oh, they are playing Dragon City Derby Dolls from Bendigo. Inner West Roller Derby League, the smashed avocado capital of Sydney. Just nestled right under the flight path in Tempe. It's a long official review, also known as a commentator's nightmare. For over 70 years, Rydell has been the innovative leader in the roller skating industry. Rydell Skates, unmatched quality, unmatched performance. If you're watching from anywhere around Adelaide and you get the chance, you should come on up to the Adelaide Showgrounds. There is lots and lots of games that are happening that you can watch, lots of people to meet, lots of stuff in the merchandise area from all the teams that are here and also from some of our suppliers. Plenty of vendors, plenty of opportunities to get stuff. Still with the official review. And here I am left without a story to tell you. It's very exciting to be here in Adelaide when it's not snowing. I remember 2 years ago, or maybe it was 4 years ago, it was actually so cold it was snowing inside. They had to get the bags of salt out to stop the track from icing over. It is, of course, very awkward for skaters to have to skate over the top of salt. But it's roller derby, so they put up with whatever they have to put up with. I'm really not sure what that official review was about, but I can tell you that it was unsuccessful. So Varsity goes on without their official review. There's only 3.5 minutes left in this game. So everyone's going to pile back onto the track. The scoreboard, as you know, is quite the blowout. 467 points to Varsity's Rogue Scholars. 80 points to the Brawl Stars from Bunbury. J-Pep's back on the jammer line. J-Pep's has had a fantastic game. 160-something points. I think maybe 166 points for this game. Horror has had a pretty great game too. This is only her 5th jam. She's gotten lead jammer status twice now. It's like 40%. But this time it is J-Pep's all the way. J-Pep's trying to march her way through, calls the jam off, unable to get all 4 points. Great pressure put by the Bunbury pack. 2 given to Horror, 3 given to J-Pep's. That's a difference of 1. That's a terrific effort there by Horror. Alrighty, just after 2.5 minutes left. I reckon that means 2 more jams. Titanium up on the jammer line for the Brawl Stars. Titanium trying for the lines on the outside. We saw her last time when she was jamming, kept catching the outsides. She finds the space on the inside line and she's the lead jammer. Terrific effort there for Bunbury. These Nuts is closing in on that gap. Titanium crashes over the top and keeps on skating. 4 points added for Bunbury's score. They look like they're gonna run this jam down. And why not, when you've got the lead jammer status, you take that advantage. 4 points added. Titanium just excusing her way through the pack. But the Varsity blockers want no part of that. These Nuts making her way through. 1 to beat, does so easily. That's 4 more points for Varsity. Big mid-air hit there for Titanium, and she calls that jam off. Eight all for that jam. That's a tremendous jam for Titanium. Bench manager running out and giving her the biggest of big hugs. And it's really lovely to see. Bunbury has been solid on the bench this whole game. Very, very calm, very, very encouraging of each other. And that's actually my favourite bit of derby. I guess you can tell I don't actually play sport. Rogue Scholars looking very, very comfortable. 478 points. Probably only one jam left for this game. Brawl Stars sitting on 90 points. Scholars taking their time. They're still having a bit of a sit while officials have a timeout. One last chance to tell you about our sponsors. AJS Lighting Sound Events. Thanks AJS for the supply of AV equipment. Sales, hire and installation of audio, visual and lighting systems for all commercial and domestic applications, including corporate functions and conferences. That is AJS Lighting Sound Events. Horror is back on the jammer line. Horror has had a pretty good go of it. Horror has managed to get lead a couple of times. She's had 6 jams this game. No, she hasn't. That's Chitty Bang. I'm looking at the wrong bit of paper. Horror's had 4 jams. This is jam number 5. So far, Horror has had 2 lead jam statuses. I feel like I said that a minute ago, so that would be 2 out of 6 now. And Varsity has Irish on the track. Horror grabbing onto Ginger Ale and pulling a penalty for a track cut. Not quite the penalty I thought it was going to be, but a penalty all the same, and that sends her to the penalty box. And that gives the power jam to Irish. Irish doesn't need power jams to put on large scores. Copter urging Irish to call that jam off. He clearly wants one more jam. And that one more jam is going to be a power start for Varsity. Horror sitting in the penalty box. She's not even standing, so there's more than 10 seconds left on her penalty. Five seconds to go on for the whistle. J Peps in the power jam. She has no trouble getting through as lead. Horror is standing in the jammer in the penalty box. Oh, all the words start falling over. Tiny little apex jump there. J Peps through. 5 points added to their score. Horror pushing on through. Just copping a bit of interference from her own player. I think it was Titanium. And that does a track cut for Horror. Another power jam. Bunbury sadly finishing the way that they started. J-Pep's not having much trouble getting through. And that's another 5 for Varsity. Varsity clocking up a pretty amazing score. And as I predicted a while ago, they do eclipse the 500 point mark. J-Pep's making it look absolutely easy peasy. 5 more for Varsity. J-Peps having an absolute cracker. Horror is through, completing her initial pass. There is 14 seconds left in this jam. Copter says call, no points given away. Copter absolutely focused on the points differential. The unofficial score here, no question, with the Rogue Scholars out in front. 512 being their final score, unofficial final score. 29 points added in that jam alone. Brawl Stars stuck on 90. And the referee's just conferring with the scorekeepers, making sure everything is in order. I see 1 thumb up. I see 2 thumbs up. And that is the official score. Rogue Scholars from Varsity Roller Derby League winning that game, 512 points to the Brawl Stars from Bunbury Roller Derby League, 90 points. My name is Melodrama, and we will be back here in a few short minutes, very, very short minutes, I think, for the next game, which is going to be Inner West Roller Derby League up against Dragon City. We will hear you then.